as a
Well,
result of
it can't be quite that, no, but it was, that was the first fund we had, but a community foundation
Oh, got it.
by definition is an umbrella for multiple families.
Got it.
So you can't set it up and say, okay, well, yeah, we have an idea, it'll be one family. Doesn't work that way. Otherwise, that's a private foundation and it's a different gig.
Yeah, got
See,
it.
that's what I thought we'd sort of talk about is the fact that this is kind of cool.
I
We
mean, how
have
else do you say
a
this? We give you your
nonprofit
face
that
on
feeds into
camera,
other
just 'cause
nonprofits.
you're-
So what happens is,
Um,
let's say you have a bunch of
I know it's a
money
little,
and you've got
it's a
this
little
great
tight.
idea.
That's okay. So just,
But-
I guess, so like.
You don't know where to need me,
First
but
thing
I'll be
I'll
on
send
my,
you
pretty
close
close.
up.
Basically, it sounds like what you can do
And
is,
I'll try to work
hire
around as
them.
much as I can.
Okay,
And,
okay. And
so
do you need me
so
with
I mean-
earphones or no?
Oh, so if you're a
earphones?
family,
earphones would
if
be
you're
nice.
trying to
Okay,
set
yeah,
up
okay,
a,
unless you don't, you
well, maybe not.
No, I
necessarily.
don't.
Yeah, in fact, let's kind of go into that. Tom, I guess one of the things I thought would be kind of interesting is,
more on.
let's say I'm a wealthy family.
And so.
Congratulations.
I think, that's right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I want to,
Put it to the side.
I just don't want to give a whole bunch of money to the
Audio, the
cost,
visual,
for example.
will see more.
But
of you
it's
instead of
Oh,
too
just
okay.
much for me to
talking.
set up my own
Talking
foundation.
mic.
Yeah, so.
Basically,
Oh,
I
that's
could
great. I can,
hire you.
sure.
in a sense.
If that works, I mean, if you're.
That's
not-
exactly
Yeah,
right.
that's
right.
And the benefits are many compared to either one of those two alternatives. Either giving all your money
We do
to
mention.
one organization, you're not quite sure, is that really what you want to do?
All right.
And mine is
Here we
the
are, we're
migraine
back
headaches that
in
can come
the
with trying to
studio.
set up
And we're gonna
a family foundation. So
Exactly.
Right in the middle,
Recorded
you hire us,
presentation,
we're
testing,
your back
testing,
office,
1, 2, 3.
we're your,
All sounds good.
You hear yourself?
Yeah, I
24/7
can.
monitors of,
Alright, what do you guys charge for that?
50 basis points.
Why don't you give yourself a tag for, just keep talking.
Sorry, okay,
Just-
yeah, now I can hear
There you
myself
go.
even louder.
Because it's,
That's good.
it's the benefit of
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we're
a
good.
billion plus dollars.
Yeah.
We spread it over the families.
Exactly, see, that's the kind of thing
Okay.
I'm sorry I missed that.
That's okay. Basically, again, you know, wealthy family says,
We
you
give
know,
them
I
a
don't
mic
go
test.
through all of
Real
it.
quick, I just need you, just
Okay.
talk like you're talking to them and. I'll
Just like I was talking?
Just like
Yeah,
you're
just-
talking,
Yeah,
just
just kind of
like
talking, or?
See, we don't want to,
and-
go through all the hassles of setting up my own 501c3.
And I would also, yeah, we don't want you to have hassles, we don't want you to have migraine headaches, and we don't want you to have the extra costs that
Yeah.
would come with setting up a private foundation. So we're available to do all of that background work
And
and
charge
charge 50
50
basis points.
points.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I reckon, because I do loan servicing, I love getting 50 basis points.
Yeah, exactly.
Service my,
Everyone's get.
Can
My
you
loan
use that
portfolio.
in terms of the personal service to advise on grant making, all the tax and audit and filing, then that way you don't have the headaches, but what
Good.
you
That's
do
good.
have
That's
is the
good.
joy of family philanthropy.
Can you hear yourself? You good?
Here.
the
Do
joy
you
of
like-
family philanthropy. I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I tell people that, after we get finished talking all these business parts about it, it is dynamite fun.
The joy of family philanthropy. Is that, I guess that could be a bestseller, like the joy of sex, or.
Well, I don't want to get in competition. I'm happy to be in the second tier. Okay.
That's right.
You guys gotta get me.
No, we're very clean on our show. I
Yeah,
don't use
that's very
that. I don't use that word.
What I have in red here is for the most part,
I can't borrow my glasses.
That's okay, that's all
I
right.
wouldn't know red from blue
Yeah.
without these specs, so let me just do this.
because since it's fairly long, I was gonna.
Yeah, no,
pretty much
don't do all
just-
this, yeah.
Because these segments go really fast.
Yeah, got it.
10 minutes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, 10 minutes goes by in no
10
time.
minutes,
So.
it's 4 10-minute segments, so
Gotcha.
generally what we'll do is, and my email for you is, do you ever make loans where you lend extra money for repairs or rehab?
Good.
Okay.
I like that.
Do you want to go into Tom in a second? We drove together, so, do you want to go in the second segment?
I mean, we could go in the first, just because, I mean, if we had Brian here, then he and I could banter back and forth,
That's true.
unless you've got some stuff that you thought might be topical. I mean, I've got an article on, but it wasn't, the week there wasn't any wow kind of news this week. It's been kind of a slow and steady dribble of,
Yeah. But I do
real estate
have,
market is flat, it's going down, it's going up. Mortgage rates money's almost free if you can qualify to borrow it, but most people can't.
but
That's why
there
there's
is
an extra
a
staff
couple
sitting
of.
around.
Yeah, I mean, the article I found from gleaning the blog post was just, mortgage lending is, they're predicting mortgage lending to fall even
times.
further next year.
Oh, yeah.
Doing again.
Yeah, we'll do the,
Predictions.
Yeah, I
Which we have
know. I
last
know. If we'd all had a great,
time.
clear crystal ball, none of us would have gotten in trouble when the real estate market turned, right?
and,
so-
I'm gonna need.
So who really knows?
Do you need extra time for your
Let's
cuts?
look at what it did for our
Yeah,
humility index.
Last time it was an 8.
Well, for my humility
Yeah, yeah,
humility
yeah.
index, I used to own a lot of real estate, and
Yeah.
now I don't.
There you go. That first one.
I've become very
Yeah.
humble in my
So I want
50s.
extra 30
I'm
seconds on
definitely in my second
Yeah, I've
career.
got some extra stuff here, yeah, so.
But I love my second career.
Awesome. No worries.
It's, by the way, in case you don't know, I'm a private money loan broker, private money real estate loan broker. So basically, my clients are all real estate investors
Okay.
looking to either buy, fix, and flip residential homes,
Yeah.
or to buy and hold for rental income.
Oh, okay.
So there's a large market of basically, if you're a real estate investor,
All right.
the assumption is
Let's get going.
California real
Okay, you
estate's
guys
on
ready?
sale right now. So so I help investors get financing.
Cool.
Hard money lender we used to be called.
Yeah.
Now we call it private money. It's a softer, easier,
Yeah,
more
Rather
PC.
than Guido.
Yeah,
The Guido Fund.
Yeah, no, I feel the Afghan.
yeah. So we can go into
We'll
it.
work it.
Yeah.
I usually start off with a couple of announcements, and you're welcome to
Okay.
And when I say, I'll welcome you.
Okay.
Oh God.
Alrighty. So we got first segment, 10 minutes, 8:30 cut.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome. You're listening to the Best of Investing on Fox News Radio, 9:10 a.m. This is the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. And for those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar having drinks without the drinks, talking business with you, the audience, listening in. I'm your host, Edward Brown. I'm honored to have as my co-host Mark Hahn from Pacific Private Money, California's premier private. Let me try that again.
Easy for you to say.
It is, yeah. Premier private lender. Ken Winans couldn't be with us today, but he's a featured forums columnist and sought-out speaker. And as a reminder, our new phone number is 888-912-1190. Write that number down, 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, believe it or not, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by the Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. And today's trivia theme is movies from the 1990s. It ought to be a lot of fun. The vacations are free, and their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. You can email questions or comments to edward@bestofinvesting.com and friend us on Facebook. Quick reminder, World Wraps Corte Madera and Santa Clara is still giving our listeners a free smoothie with purchase of a wrap or bowl if you mentioned the Best of Investing. And yesterday, or a couple days ago, they had protesters in San Rafael. And after a while, I was thinking of joining them and holding up a sign that would say, "No more protests." That's what I'm protesting. It's the protests. How's that?
Protest the protesters.
Okay. And in the studio today, we have a very special guest, Tom Peters, who is president of the Marin Community Foundation. It's formerly called the Buck Trust. And Dr. Tom Peters is president and chief executive officer of the Marin Community Foundation, and he's in his 14th year. With assets of nearly $1 billion, is one of the largest community foundations in the United States.
Wow.
Foundations, it makes significant improvements in communities around the world in 2 ways: by spearheading initiatives for long-term sustainable change in Marin, and by distributing grants from donor-advised funds, which we'll get into, locally and across the U.S. and around the world. And let's see here, the foundation and its donors provide grant support of approximately $50 million per year for a broad range of community services and projects. Tom, welcome to the Best of Investing.
Thank you. Glad to join you guys.
Good. Now, tell us a little bit about, I want to get right into this question I've had, which is, I think the thing that's really cool, and you and I have talked about this before, is that if there's a wealthy family out there and they want to give to organizations, but they don't want to, let's say, set up their own foundation or their own nonprofit, and they don't want to just give all their money to, I'll just pick one, the American Red Cross as an example. As I understand it, they can hire you for some fee, and you guys would basically administer their wishes.
Right.
And what do you charge for that service?
50 basis points.
Okay,
Half a
just
percent.
half a point, and
Half-
that's
half
very,
a
very
percent.
reasonable.
Yeah. No, it's a great deal, and it's one of the advantages of being actually our assets now are about 1.2 billion,
Okay,
and we share it across, share the benefit of that size across 400 plus families. Most of them living here in Marin, but a number elsewhere in the country as well.
So you're not just the Buck Trust anymore. You've got over 400 families whose wealth you get an opportunity to administer?
With them, yeah.
With them?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we maintain a very good relationship with them. What we do is we do all the back office work, taxes, auditing, monitoring of legislation, filings, everything that looks like work. And what they get is the joy and fun
What did we call it earlier? The joy of family
the
philanthropy?
joy of family.
Soon to be a bestseller.
Yeah.
that's easy for you. Yeah, but that's great though, because doing all those 990s and other forms.
oh,
with
You
the
should know,
IRS.
you used to be or are a CPA,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm not a CPA, but I have my tax degree, and I actually do have my own 501c3. Now, mine's really, really small, so it's not a big deal for me.
But
But
it used to be really, really big?
no, no, it's always been very, very small.
Unfortunately, it was investing in real estate.
No. It was strictly an educational
Okay.
situation, but that's really cool where you can have a situation where people want to give, but they don't know where to do this.
Yeah, here's the real set of advantages. One is it's essentially having a family foundation without the cost or the headaches. And so you get to name, your fund is in your family name. You get to be involved and engaged in what you want to give to, when you want to give it. And it's in your family's name, so you get all that advantage without having to go back to the kitchen table and try to figure out whether you're matching up to the IRS rules or whether you filed the right forms and all of that. We take care of that for you.
What kind of limitations? Like, is there a minimum that it has to be set up with?
No, we tend to be best fitted with individuals that have funds that start, say, at around $200,000. We don't set that as an absolute minimum, but that's usually the best fit. And we have individual funds that range up into 20, 30, 40 million dollars.
Sure.
And then the Dr. and Mrs. Buck's fund is considerably larger than that. But it's one of 400 family funds, so it's just easy to think of each of these as individual family foundations that are administered co-administered.
So
by
what
us.
would the procedure be? Let's say I'm someone who's got $500,000 and...
Nice to meet you.
That is very-
Very good, very good.
Wait, what if I said $1 million? It would be really, really nice to
Really
meet
glad to
you.
meet you.
Okay, so I got a $500,000
Okay.
someday.
Okay.
And what's the step? I call the foundation up?
You could call us, you could go online. Opening a fund with us would be no more complicated than getting a checking savings account set at your bank. We're gonna ask you some
the name
basic,
of it.
get some basic information, and we also, of course, the more we can know about what your interests and what your passions, where your directions are for philanthropic giving, that's great. But in terms of just opening the fund, it is simple. It's available online. We're available to consult, and we're available to sit down with you since you've got I think you said a full million now, didn't you?
10 minutes ago.
So maybe you got an advisor and you want us to talk with your attorney or your advisor with you just to make sure all the details are right. But it's really a straightforward process.
So is this like opening up like an IRA account? I mean, I know you can do that online as well.
Yeah.
So is the fund, the fund that's in your family name, is it in a legal entity of some kind, or is it just more like an account with MCF?
It is part of MCF, so that it becomes an account, and the money actually is given to MCF to manage separately. Everything, of course, is detailed and accounted for in each separate fund.
Okay.
But here's one advantage about how that works. You give the money when it's the best timing for you, either because that's just when in your family planning or your estate planning, whatever, or a tax event has occurred, a nice one.
Right.
Remember those?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those. Some people still have them. Events where you want to give the money and you get the maximum tax benefit when you give the money. But when you then distribute it, or when we distribute it on your behalf, can be next year or the second year or third year, so that we decouple the tax advantage of the gift in and the
Distribution
thoughtfulness
of it
of
later.
distribution going out.
Yeah, because the tax deduction comes when you first make the contribution to the foundation.
When you establish the
Yeah,
fund,
not
that
when it
actually,
goes away.
yeah, that's your charitable, that is your charitable event. And then, when the money goes out, that's your joyful event.
Now, I know Mark wants to set up the Mark Hahn Fiji Islands
Yes.
Fund.
Yes, yes, yes.
So when someone sets up
Yeah.
a family fund,
Yeah.
do they get to choose how that's invested? And I guess we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that
After the break.
after the first commercial break. So here is the first trivia question. Okay, this is gonna be fun. All right, and remember it's movie theme from 1990s,
From the
films
90s.
from the 90s. Okay, what's the name of the movie in which Mel Gibson plays a 13th century Scotsman who builds a rebellion against the English for independence? And hint, he makes a movie speech in which he finishes with, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!" That's not too bad, huh? Okay, the first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What's the name of the movie in which Mel Gibson plays a 13th century Scotsman who builds a rebellion against the English for independence? Hint, he makes a moving speech in which he finishes with, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!" 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number, and we'll be right back. So we have a lot of fun doing that.
I think you want to do it the second time on that voiceover.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What time did you have?
9:41.
Oh, so always within a second. That's good.
And I had a complete, I'm drawing a blank on it. It's just, it's so
Uh-oh.
funny because I just read it as, I read, I don't know if you read the San Francisco Business Times, when they always
Yeah.
do little entrepreneur and other
Yeah.
professional
Profiles,
profiles. And they always
yeah.
say like, what's your favorite movie? And I
Yeah.
can't believe how often that's like the guy's favorite movie, you know.
Braveheart.
That's
and
mine too,
Brave-
yeah.
All right, good. Nice.
You knew that, right?
No,
You,
no.
you know that one? Okay.
No.
Braveheart, that's
No.
right, yeah. Thank you for that.
There you go.
Okay, so you had a question that you will continue with, about investing the funds.
Right.
Okay.
Does an individual who sets up a fund, are they able to direct exactly where it's being invested?
Invest it before it gets distributed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because they give it to you,
Right.
and then it gets invested in
I'm
stocks,
gonna tell you
bonds.
that
Okay.
A nuance in there.
Okay.
It's a little in between. Keep the IRS happy and.
Right, no, I'm
I
guessing
love
that there
Yeah.
is
Right.
a caveat.
We love a
somewhere.
happy IRS.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Say it on the air, I like that. Okay.
Segment 2, 12 minutes, 10:30 cut. 3, 2.
Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money. And when we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this first trivia question. What's the name of the movie in which Mel Gibson plays a 13th century Scotsman who builds a rebellion against the English for independence? And the hint was he makes a moving speech in which he finishes with, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!" Mark, what is the answer to that?
That would be Braveheart.
Braveheart, that is my favorite movie. Yes,
It's
I had
surprising how
that
many
there.
people it's their favorite movie. It's so inspirational.
It's great.
Of course, now sometimes it's kind of hard to watch Mel Gibson, given all the recent
all the
stuff.
stuff, yeah. You got to go back to '95 and just
It's kind of politically
into the
incorrect to
moment.
like him nowadays.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Who cares? Not that we're politically
Okay,
correct.
we are
right
in the
now.
studio with Tom Peters, who is the CEO of the Marin Community Foundation. And before we cut to break, Mark, you were going to ask a question.
Well, yeah, we were talking about, Tom, how you have, 400 plus family contributions. Family funds.
Mhm.
And so I put in, let's say I'm going to match Edward and throw in my $500,000. Now,
I'm happy I'm here today.
and so I know you guys are funding various grants and other projects. Am I able to say to you guys, look, here are some grants and areas that I'd like to see this money invested, but I don't want to invest it over here in that thing you're doing?
Entirely. We
Is that a
work-
yes?
Yeah, it is.
I thought your question had to do with, can you first, when you first give the money, where do you invest it? Like stocks, bonds, mutual funds?
Oh, no,
Before
that
you
wasn't,
get
but that's a
the
good
distribution.
question too.
Oh, okay.
So we're using investment in 2 ways, which is fine. Investment about how do we keep the money, the $500,000 or $1 million you guys have now given me this afternoon. I'm leaving the studio.
I was going to say exactly what I was checking.
Yeah, but how do we invest that? In that, we have several different investment options, and we match that. You get to pick the option that most fits the timing you're likely to want to extend. You want to give away this money in the next 5 years or 10 years. That's one option in terms of what kinds of investments we'd make. If it's a legacy fund that you really want to go on and hand off to your family, that obviously you'd set up a different investment portfolio.
And don't most
We do
people
that for you. What's that?
Don't most people want that? They want a continuous type?
No, we have a mix.
Really?
Yeah, we have a mix. Yeah. So anyhow, we have a Crackerjack investment committee that oversees gives us at the foundation some really key advice. They really were working with us to give us key advice about investing that money. All our results are posted online, updated quarterly. You can go on and see for each of the different pools how they're performing. Second use of the term investing that you used, Mark, was investing the dollars, as in giving grants, making investments into the community. I love that
Right.
use of the word investing too, which is exactly how we refer to it. And in that, we work with each individual family independently and say, what are your areas of interest? What are some of the goals that you're trying to achieve? What are you trying to pass on to your kids in terms of their involvement, perhaps, with thinking this through? So it's very individualized across each of the funds, which is what can't be offered, say, by a Fidelity or other of the
Sure.
alternatives.
And do you ever turn people down?
Well, you know, Edward, you might be the first, but
I've told you what the money's going to be used for.
yeah, but you just got that look. No, do you mean by that? Do we look to see what's the source of the money?
No, not that. I was thinking more of someone comes in and says, okay, I want to fund terrorist organizations. Something. Turn them down from the standpoint of you guys making a judgment that
Yes.
what they're doing.
Yes, it's rare. It's rare because we haven't had that suggestion yet. I knew there was something about you. We haven't. Here's the deal, and it gets back to something Mark asked just before the break, and that is, does the family direct where the money wants to go, or is there some other involvement?
Right.
And here's my. I'll do this real quick because it's for the IRS, and we love a happy IRS. Right?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so
I sent them my check today.
to protect the tax deductibility of the gift that you've made, Mark. Remember you making that gift, right?
Right, absolutely.
To protect that tax deductibility of that, you're in a relationship with us that is known as a donor advised fund. It's not directed, it's advised. And so what that means is that you give us your best advice, you give us an understanding about the areas that you'd like to work in. Ultimately and legally, and bless the IRS, it is our decision about where that money ultimately goes. Now, here's the deal. Almost always, the advice that you give us is the direction that the money goes. Otherwise, it would be a business model that wouldn't be too sustainable. But Edward, to your question, the reason for that intermediary step, in addition to keeping the IRS happy, is that we make sure on your behalf that it's a legitimate charity, that they're doing what they say, that it isn't just a pretty website, that they've got a track record of some impact and some other questions, due diligence questions that we do on your behalf.
Well, because I can imagine some people trying to take advantage of this and make it a false charity. I was kidding around with it, Mark on Fiji Island Fund,
Hey, I love that
He
idea.
wasn't kidding. Did you notice how he got serious?
I did.
I got excited. I am excited.
Yeah, I noticed that. I can say that. No, you're right, Edward. You're right because in part, we just want to be sure that everything keeps exactly according to the book, that somebody's not saying, oh, well, I've got a really good charity out there, and you look at the charity, and it turns out that it's Aunt Louise,
exactly.
who's the ED, and your cousin that could never get a job elsewhere, who's the executive director. But it so rarely comes up. I mean,
sure. Well, you guys are a big enough
Yeah,
foundation. I can imagine that'd be tough. Do you ever get involved like charitable remainder trusts?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We have a variety of different vehicles. The donor advised funds are the most prominent of them. But we do have other vehicles that we work out primarily with your counselors, your tax advisors, your attorneys, and so forth.
So let's say somebody, for the audience out there, I brought up charitable remainder trust. Effectively, what people try to do is instead of just handing over $500,000 in cash, they might have some stocks or some real estate that has a very low basis, but has a very high value. And so in order to not pay taxes on that gain, they can donate at the fair market value the asset. So in that case, let's say as an example, they've had a building in the family for years that's got a basis of $100,000, but is worth $1 million, even in today's value. They can contact you, basically donate the building to the trust, and you guys would take the next procedure of selling it, or what do you do?
Generally, we don't hold assets. We get all sorts of assets, real estate, jewelry, other forms of assets. Our general rule is that we dispose of them pretty quickly, and then the proceeds go into into the family account that you set up. But there are a lot of particulars to that. They're case by case, and we've got some of the best philanthropic advisors on our staff that can really sit down and work that through, because almost every time, and you guys know this from your own expertise, every one of these cases has got a wrinkle someplace.
Oh, well,
So
especially
Right.
with the CRT, I can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah, and
But-
we are the iron.
But with the other question I actually thought that you were asking, Mark, was, and so I'll ask this. Let's say
Please
now
do.
now you've got your 500,000 from me and 500,000 from Mark.
Yep.
Remember, he's not leaving a check
Yeah.
out the studio without a check.
That's right.
2 checks.
2 checks. That's right. Do we get to decide? Let's say the money's going to go in, but it's not going to get spent for, let's say, a couple of years as things are going on.
Right.
The advice about, well, we would like to see that invested in the stock market or the bond market or some other.
Yes, again, the separation on investments. The investments for how that money is cared for during the couple of years before you have any intention of giving it away. That is what we would set up with you when you set up the fund. And we have about 5 or 6 separate pools that have different proportionality of stocks and bonds, domestic, international. You can pick. But the other definition, again, on investment, when you're ready. Say you want to do, you've sat down with your wife or your kids, all of them together, and thought through. You've got 4 areas that you'd really like to zero in on. But one of the things that our staff can do, and our philanthropic advisor staff can do with you, is think through. Okay, you said you wanted to do something in education, you wanted to do something in environment, a couple of other areas. What are some of the really good programs that are available? And it doesn't have to be Marin. We all of our family, every one of our families, other than one, give money. We give on their behalf. Marin, Bay Area, America, around the world.
Really? So it's just, even though it's called the Marin Community Foundation, you're not limited to investing that money in
Well,
Marin grants and
That's
Well, not
right.
if it's like our money. All we're doing is hiring them to administer it.
No,
So,
here's
right?
but here's it. No, I want the IRS to come back through the door here. We just made them happy a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
You gave us that money. Now it's our money,
Okay.
but we still like you.
Okay.
We're not.
That's a good way of putting it.
we're
Yeah.
still friends.
Yeah, we're still very close friends,
Okay.
and you're our advisor with regard to distribution of that money. So that's a relationship that goes on. But to protect your deductibility when you gave the money to us, that's the relationship.
Okay, we've been in the studio with Tom Peters, who is the CEO of the Marin Community Foundation. Before we cut to break, though, Tom, if people are out there and they've got their $500,000 or $1 million, how would they get a hold of you or the foundation?
Completely easy. marincf.org.
I visited the website. It is pretty.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty.
And it works.
All right, here,
Oh, that's the best part.
here we're going to cut to our second commercial break, and here is the second trivia question. This 1998 film is about a small group of soldiers whose mission is to bring back the only survivor brother of a family who had already lost 4 sons. Hint, Tom Hanks played the captain in charge, and Matt Damon played the surviving son. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. This 1998 film is about a small group of soldiers whose mission is to bring back the only survivor brother of a family who had already lost 4 sons. I believe it's World War II is when this took place.
Yes.
Hint, Tom Hanks played the captain in charge and Matt Damon played the surviving son. Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number, and we will be right back.
1156. I know you know
That's
this one.
Huh?
I know you know
That
this
one I know, yeah, I wrote it down.
Tom, you know this one, right?
I have no idea.
Same age.
We're gonna get you in the
I have no,
office.
I have no bandwidth. I've got no bandwidth left. The good news about running $1 billion worth of other people's
1156.
money is that it takes up quite a bit of bandwidth.
Oh,
The
I
bad
believe it.
news is it takes up essentially all of it.
I still have that question about contributions, given this, we're in the Great Recession.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah, we can get into that and then we're gonna.
Yeah, right, we'll do,
Yeah,
we'll
'cause
just
it's
do like half the, you know, if we
Okay.
do kind of a wrap up.
Yeah, because
again.
that's, it's so important, especially with today's economy and the government kind of cutting back. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, if you want to ask me the, you know, email question in the middle of
In
the
the
next.
middle of it, yeah.
Excuse me. 11 minutes, 9:30 cut. 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, my co-host. And we asked this second commercial trivia question. This 1998 film is about a small group of soldiers whose mission is to bring back the only survivor brother of a family who had already lost 4 sons. Hint, Tom Hanks played the captain in charge and Matt Damon played the surviving son. All right, Tom, you're still in the studio here. What was the answer to that?
I have no idea.
We gotta get you out of the office more often.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll take
Poor
that.
guy worked so hard on $1 billion fund.
Two movie tickets, huh?
Two movie tickets,
Cool.
yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan, that is correct. Before we get into email time with Mark, we had a couple more questions for
Oh
Tom.
yeah, one of the obvious ones, Tom. You know, given that we're in the great, or you know, living through the Great Recession right now, how are contributions to the Marin Community Foundation? Given that we're hearing an awful lot of charitable organizations are finding it very difficult right now to raise money.
Right. The fiscal year we just concluded, June 30th, banner year for the foundation.
Really?
Biggest year ever.
That's great, because
Yeah.
especially with government cutbacks.
It is. Here's the thing, two quick things. One is, we're not the end point of that money, so we are the intermediary, as we've been discussing. So that's a big variable. It's different than you know, a dance group or an art group or a school group asking for money. That's sort of where the money stops. We're an intermediary. The bigger answer to your question is that you know, this is a country and this is a community that's bifurcated. There are some people doing pretty well, and they're making decisions. They're making life decisions, estate decisions, charitable decisions, and we're very happy to note that the generosity in Marin and around the Bay Area in particular is peaking. And actually, we had, as I said, a banner year of new money in to existing funds and new funds, and we're extremely proud of being able to be in that position with people who have both the wallet and the heart to open the fund.
Well, even during the Great Depression, I think they said even more churches got built during that time. than
It's just amazing to me that you know, the Bay Area is such a wealthy region, and there really is a tremendous amount of money. I mean, I know from my own business, you know, we make loans that are funded by private individuals, and we've had a great last couple of years. There's no shortage of capital out there looking for yield, looking for a place to park, looking to do some good. It is pretty amazing, and I know a lot of us, you know, a lot of us who have suffered during this downturn, and I know my real estate holdings took a beating. Oftentimes, it feels like, you know, everyone is hurting, but really, as you indicated, we live in a bifurcated world. There are an awful lot of people for whom maybe this Great Recession has been no more than a stutter step.
And the other great thing to note is that the families that we have the privilege of working with have really brought their heart to this. They've got the wallet, otherwise we wouldn't be in the business with them that we are, and they've been successful in every field, professional, business, academic, medicine. They've already been successful. They have that wallet, but the great thing about it is that they bring their heart to it as well, and that combination makes it a real privilege to work
I
with.
bet you love your job.
I do love my job.
I
It's
can
a
imagine.
giveaway.
That's
It's
Well, this is a
giveaway.
great thing when you think about it. I mean, the guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates who
Yeah.
pledged to give the lion's share of their wealth away. I just think that is wonderful. Makes me happy to buy, you know, Windows products or buy from the companies that Hathaway,
You know,
Berkshire Hathaway
you can't
own.
take it with you. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And the great thing is here, we have families right in our community who, while they're, obviously nobody has the wealth that Gates and Buffett, But they are families that have considerable wealth. They have taken care of the immediate and generational needs that are of primary concern. But they've got the money, and they indeed have made a pledge. That's actually what opening the fund of the Marin Community Foundation is equivalent to, is making that pledge. Here is in many cases, it's a substantial part of their income.
You know what I love?
Monies.
The part, I'll tell you, honestly, the thing I love the best about this is that you guys, you only charge a half a base, or half a point, 50 basis points.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so reasonable. It's like having a no-load mutual fund, you know, where they just are just giving you, you know, they're not trying to fund their own pockets too much. You know, they're trying to do what.
Right, exactly. Otherwise, if you're a family that wants to give away your money, you've got to hire an attorney, you have to set up the organization, it has to be administered. I mean, there are administrative costs, and that would far exceed, 50 basis points on an annual basis and half a point of the value.
Just administrative costs.
Many of the families now opening funds have had or considered and looked into what the costs and involvements were of doing it themselves. And they come to us immediately. And their financial advisors are increasingly just saying, look, go right to this alternative. You have all the benefits of a family foundation, none of the headaches, all the joy.
I'm a big fan of outsourcing. I just think that's brilliant. That's just, no wonder you guys are successful.
Well, my 501c3 has $500 in it, so maybe we'll be talking pretty soon.
Wait a minute, I thought I had 3 more zeros in that.
Okay, we're Tom, stick with us, and Mark, we're going to get it right into email time for you.
Okay.
Here's an email we received. Do you ever make loans where you lend extra money for repairs or rehab? So you give us a scenario where that would be a situation.
Okay, for those who are new to listening to our program, you're driving around the Bay Area and you happen to tune into 910 Fox News Radio KNEW and you're hearing us for the first time. My company is Pacific Private Money. We're located in Novato, and we make real estate investor loans, and those loans are funded by private individuals who have money that they're looking to invest for high yields. And when I say real estate investor loans, basically we don't do consumer home loans. So we're not competing with Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase. We're not making loans to people looking to buy a home to live in. Who we're making loans to are real estate investors who are taking advantage of the California's on sale, as many people believe it is. California real estate's on sale, I should say.
And by the way, Bank of America is no competition for you.
Thanks. So if you're a real estate investor out there and you're looking to leverage your capital to acquire rental property, rents are really strong right now, and you can get in many communities in the Bay Area rental housing for extremely low prices, very, very low prices. Bank-owned properties and short sales are still very much the rage these days. If you're looking to acquire real estate and you go to your bank for a loan, more often than not they're going to tell you no. Banks are really only interested in making consumer home loans these days, and even that they're not doing very well because you've got to qualify and have good credit and all that stuff. So real estate investors, our phone rings off the hook weekly from real estate investors looking to leverage their capital with a private money loan. Private money loans are not as inexpensive as a bank loan. The interest rates on a private money loan to a real estate investor will average between 10 and 12%, but it's a means to an end. Again, if you buy real estate at the right price, you can use a 65% purchase money loan from a company like Pacific Private Money, and it'll allow you to acquire more real estate. So to answer the question that the listener posed is, do we loan the rehab portion of it? And what that means is, will we make a loan that not only helps you buy the property, but will also provide some added capital so that you can remodel the home and either sell it for a profit, which the fix and flip market is still alive and well in the Bay Area, despite what you may read in the papers, or maybe you want to fix it up and just rent it out and hold it long term. The answer to that is yes, we do. We work with a number of investors, and we also work with a number of other lenders who focus on what's called rehab lending. So we have a number of programs available, and there's a thriving industry right now around buying either properties at the courthouse steps or buying from banks or buying short sales. and the fix and flip market. Like I said, there are pockets of communities in the Bay Area where investors are just, if you're a sophisticated investor, you got a good team, you know how to buy. I mean, they're killing it. They're making good money.
Well, I could see also that a lot of banks won't lend enough money to do the rehab. They may do the loan to purchase the property if they qualify, but the additional money that's needed, that makes it too high a loan to value usually.
There is a program, I think it's the 203K program that a number of banks have, but again, they have very specific qualification requirements, and so oftentimes they take a long time. And the other thing about private money loans, we're very, very fast. Call us on Friday, and by next Friday, oftentimes we can come up with the money to close that deal.
That's amazing, within a week. Okay, we are gonna cut to our third and final commercial break, and here is the trivia question. This 1993 film was filmed mostly in black and white and starred Liam Neeson as a war profiteer who eventually saves over 1,000 Polish Jews in his factory during the Holocaust. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website again is lighthouse4fun.com. Check them out. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. This 1993 film was filmed mostly in black and white and starred Liam Neeson as a war profiteer who eventually saves over 1,000 Polish Jews in his factory during the Holocaust. Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number. This was definitely one that I could not do the voiceover for. And we will be right back.
Yeah, Schindler's List.
There you go. Now you do that one. Okay, we're gonna let you answer that one.
I had that one.
Okay, what time do you have? 10:50.
Excuse me.
Okay. So, let's see here. What does this add up to? Okay, the first 2 is 20 minutes and 20 minutes and 30 to 21 minutes and 38 seconds plus that is 32:28. Does that sound right? It's funny when 60 seconds instead of 100 seconds, it makes it
Yeah.
harder. 9:42 plus 11:56 plus
It's
10:50.
clock math.
Yeah, clock math, exactly.
I'm off by 1, but that's because I had a 9:41 for the first segment.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But
is that 32:27?
yeah, it's still 32:20. Yeah.
32:27, okay.
Yeah.
And we've got to have 43 minutes here, so that would mean 10 minutes and 33 seconds.
Left for your fourth segment,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Okay,
So why don't you do a cut at 9:30 then still, or do you want extra? Do you want it at
I
8
need a
minutes?
little bit extra time
All
on
right, then
there.
we'll do it at 8 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right,
Solid. All right.
Last segment.
Final segment. 10:33. Cut at 8 minutes. 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, my co-host. And when we cut to the third and final trivia question break, this was the question. This 1993 film was filmed mostly in black and white and starred Liam Neeson as a war profiteer who eventually saves over 1,000 Polish Jews in his factory during the Holocaust. Now, Tom, I know you know the answer to this one. Go ahead.
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, that is correct. A
Yeah,
great movie.
Schindler. I thought it was Hogan's Heroes. From
Yeah, I actually love that TV show.
That was
So let's see, Mark, tell us what's going on in real estate.
Well, interesting article this week in the Wall Street Journal. Tough year ahead for mortgage lending is the title of the article. And, as a little background, we talked about in the last couple of weeks, you can get mortgages now for as low as 3.75. I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, money is so cheap that it's almost interest free if you consider that inflation on average is going to be about 3% a year. So you would think that it would be that if they're advertising for 3 3/4 and 4% money, that you'd be able to get it. But what's happening in the marketplace right now is it's actually very, very difficult. to qualify
Oh,
for,
yeah, you gotta have
for a
large
bank
down
loan these days.
payment.
So here it says, mortgage lending will likely fall 25% in 2012 to its lowest level in decades. And the reason they're saying is banks are running out of qualified borrowers to lend to.
Sure.
I just find that
Look at
really,
the unemployment, right?
Mhm.
You get so many people out of work, who qualify for it?
well, and they say here that due to regulation and other challenges facing banks, lenders are unlikely to ease credit in order to increase those loan volumes, as they may have done, in fact did do, as we all know, in the early 2000s. I mean, that basically if you could fog a mirror, you could get a bank loan,
and
all the
do you
way
think
until 2005.
Well, do you think they're scared that if they make those loans and they go bad, that they're not gonna get bailed out again?
Well, I mean, here, what was key in this sentence here, and I think this was a very interesting article, due to regulation and other challenges. And I'll just tell you that the regulation, I mean, that doesn't even be, there have been so many new laws enacted in the last 36 months, most of which, quite frankly, in my opinion, are and were ridiculous. I mean, the interesting thing about capitalist markets is more often than not they're able to correct themselves, and that bad behavior is punished, and oftentimes as a result, where the market corrects itself. I mean, the subprime lenders went away; they're gone, but yet they've enacted so many new regulations to restrict how you can lend to an individual. And I know this because in our private lending practice, one of the reasons I don't make consumer home loans is because really I can't.
Oh, I know, the regulations
I
are terrible.
can't. Whereas 10 years ago, hard money lenders, we now call ourselves private money lenders, making consumer home loans was a big part of the business. In fact, if you had equity in your home, but your credit was bad, you'd go to a private lender, and that private lender would make you basically a home equity loan. Well, now we can't do that.
Go ahead and tell our listeners why.
Well, the reason why is they've first of all, we can't do short-term loans. We used to be able to make you a loan for 1 or 2 years. Now we can't. It has to be a 7-year term. Well, that all by itself eliminates most of my investors who are not about to fund a 7-year loan. Our average loan term is between 6 months and 24 months. And that is the comfort level of most of our investors,
Sure,
because
economics change.
right, things
Yeah.
change. I mean,
Interest
what if
rates
inflation shoots up to 12% and the prime rate goes up to 8 or 9 and
And
you
they're
could-
locked into a low loan.
right,
interest rate.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, the regulations that they passed, and not only that, now you actually have to qualify a borrower. So I can't make a loan to you unless you can prove to me you can afford it. So I can't just loan you money on the equity of your home. I have to now demonstrate that you can afford the interest, the monthly payments. 'Cause-
And in theory, if I can afford it, I would go to the bank,
well,
right?
that's exactly it. And so, and if I don't do that, my lender could basically lose all the interest on that loan. It becomes an interest-free loan. That's the penalty. So,
Remember, no good deed goes unpunished.
right, exactly. So we get calls all the time, and it's really sad. And particularly, let's say you're trying to get time to sell your home. You haven't been keeping up on your mortgage payments. Your home is in foreclosure, and the bank is threatening. Well, if you have equity, in 5 years ago, I could make you a loan to buy you time to sell your house in an arm's length, non-distressed sale. Now you can't do that. It's just it's
Let
really
me
sad.
ask Tom this question. Do you have any families in the foundation who, because I know that there are actually some, like in India, I think there was a gentleman who set up a bank just to lend for this kind of purpose, to help people out of their home situation? You
We,
get
we,
behind it?
we don't. I mean,
Okay.
we have individuals that have made money in that market, but it's independent and of our work with them. Yeah.
That would be a brilliant business model, and I'm sure someone else has not only thought of it, but maybe they're, again, capitalism is wonderful in its ability to react, in all sorts of conditions. So notwithstanding all these stupid new regulations,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great to know that there's someone out there putting together a bank, and maybe it is most banks are privately funded, ultimately in the beginning. That's how most of them are formed.
Yeah.
So start your own private bank whose goal is to make the loans that the banks aren't making to homeowners who deserve an opportunity to either save their home or to at least have access to
As long as you can
capital.
get rid of the regulations, you know, because you have a lot
Well,
of
you-
philanthropic people out there, but legally you can't.
Well, you can if you cut, yeah, I mean, again, there's the narrow bandwidth of which you can make these loans. They have to be a 7-year term, there can't be a balloon, interest rate can't be higher than X, and you can't charge higher than Y.
7 year and there can't be a balloon, that means it's gotta be a fully amortized.
Within,
7-year
no, I'm
loan.
sorry, within, there's no balloon, within 7 years, and I.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah,
Okay.
no default interest rate, that's another one that's part of it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they've decided to, you know, they were gonna stamp out predatory lending and stamp out subprime lending by passing these laws. And the net effect really is you take away consumer choice. The government basically said, you know, Mr. Consumer, you're too stupid to make decisions on your own, so we're going to take away options. And that's always bad news when, when has government ever stepped in and passed laws that didn't have, you know, unintended consequences?
No, it always seems to be that way. Did you guys read in the paper about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania?
No, tell us.
They
They filed?
filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then that's just.
Another city.
Yeah, but that's okay, it's just a little town called the capital of Pennsylvania. I mean, Vallejo had filed, and now Pennsylvania, you know, Harrisburg, it says they only have about 49,000 people, but gosh, that's amazing though. Like, that's a big municipality. Apparently, the big incinerator was supposed to cost 60 million and ended up costing 300 million for a big incinerator. Isn't that like a big bonfire? I mean,
What are they burning?
I don't know, but you know, someone's got to look into that and see what really went on.
Well, you know, when Vallejo goes bankrupt, you know, a few people in the Bay Area really bat an eye, but, you know, when the capital of Pennsylvania goes bankrupt, then you know something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, Tom? We gotta cut out of here really soon.
No, good. Pleasure to be with you guys, and I'll take those two.
Checks. That's two
Right.
checks now. Yeah.
And listeners, be sure to visit the website, Marin Community Foundation. Of course, I just Googled, I just typed Marin Community Foundation, and up it popped at the
It'll
top
be
of the
number one
page.
every time.
But what is the actual URL again?
marincf.org.
And
So
you always
there's-
go on our website too,
Oh, yeah.
bestofinvesting.com. Okay, thoughts for the day. You've heard the term money doesn't grow on trees. Well, that's true because money is actually made of cotton, not paper. Thought that was interesting.
Oh.
And if you yelled for 8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, you would have produced enough sound energy to heat 1 cup of coffee. That's a little too much work. I think I'll go to Starbucks instead. I want to thank my engineer, Henry Hornstein, for orchestrating this show. You won't want to miss next week as we're having Phil Diamond back, who's an expert in mediation, who will give us advice and promises to be an awesome show. Tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We'll be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, Edward Brown and
And
Mark
Mark
Hahn,
Hunt.
there you go. We are wishing you the best of investing. So long. Now, I still have a minute left.
Yeah, I had 9 minutes. You had a lot of time. I don't, in 8 minutes, you could have done that in 9 minutes.
Okay, well, it's okay. We'll let them fill in the breaks.
What happened there? We
You got a full minute left.
oh, darn.
Because you gave us a minute and a half, right?
Yeah.
How did we fill that up in 30 seconds? That's,
Took him seriously.
I know, I'm sorry, I was looking at this and going, I think we have a little bit of time left. Yeah, but, oh well,
We'll
it
figure
is
out.
what it is, yeah. I was gonna say, Ken's segment, he doesn't have any 1 minute ones. You know what, I could have him run a couple commercials. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
yeah. Okay.
Tom, that was great.
Great to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Tom,
that
thank you
was
so
wonderful.
much.
Yeah.
So he's just downloading the stuff now, we'll give you this. Oh, I gotta turn this off now.
Yeah.
And then we'll be on our way, because everyone's busy.
Open the door and that's
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
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 It's nice and steamy in here.
Yeah.